Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. See that LT is still on the lift behind me. I had a issue with it. So I got the clutch all done. Everything went very well with the clutch, and had a little bit of a problem. I didn't follow one of my own rules, and that was to disconnect the water temperature sensor, and it broke. So I didn't break the wire. I think it broke internally. In fact, I'll take you over to that right now. Take a look at it. Just got to get my wires all untangled here. So right over here, I got this. That's the water temperature sensor wire. So when it was hooked up inside here, and I lowered the engine down, I kept going around it, kept going around the engine just to make sure nothing else was pulling. I didn't notice that this one was pulling, and I think it pulled a little bit too tight. There's not a whole lot there, and it basically broke the wires inside. So I'm waiting for a new wire to come back. Ordered up a wire, and that should be in on Monday, and then that bike gets out of here. Anyway, let's go back over to over here. So, anyway, yeah, I thought I'd take a few of your questions today and give you a little shop talk and talk about a dead battery issue I've had on my own personal bike. Sean, I see your question here. I will get to that in just a minute, but yeah, this one, sadly, it's taken up my lift, and I really don't want to move it until it's ready to get off the lift. Everything's ready except for that one little wire problem. Anyway, so what else has been going on? Well, the Shark bike. So I relisted the Shark bike over on eBay, and I left it up on Facebook, and just before, I mean just seriously 2 minutes before I put this, I was about to go live. That was about at noon. A gentleman contacted me and said he'd like to buy the Shark bike. So may have actually sold the Shark bike, and that's awesome. Glad to know that somebody's going to get it. Yeah, am I making money or losing money on it? Well, to be honest, I'm actually losing money on it because I had a lot of time and parts invested in there, but that's okay. You know what? I got my run out of it. I had the thing. I was sitting on it for over a year, and I really needed to get that thing out of here. So I was able to finish it up. You guys probably saw the videos running on that, and was able to finally get it sold. Hopefully. I guess it won't be sold until the money changes hands, but as of right now, it's kind of a pending sale. So thank you to everybody who did keep an eye on that thing. Thanks for watching that video on all the videos that I had on Shark bike. Hopefully I'm going to have another project in here soon, another project bike. I wouldn't mind a different bike as a project bike. I think that could be a good time. Maybe if I can get maybe a GT, that'd be good. Anybody else out there has any suggestions? Of course, that'd be awesome to hear. Well, let's take one of your questions here. Sean Phillips wrote in the chat here. Good afternoon. What's the change from 99 to 03 and then 04 and up? Sean, I'm not totally yet familiar with all of the changes. I was just having a conversation the other day with none other than Chris Harris. A lot of you guys know him. You probably have seen his videos, his rant video on the LT, that kind of thing. And also he does a lot of great videos on how-tos and that kind of thing as well. Anyways, I was having a conversation with him on that would be a great subject to bring up. I can go over some of the things that I know about on the LT, like, the 99s. They were pretty 99 and 2000 are my personal favorites. I own a 2000. The bike that's behind me is a 2000, and yeah, it's probably the one that I'm the most familiar with, but there's reasons that I really like that bike the most. And I think it was because it was unrefined. It wasn't, so in 99, they introduced this thing, and it was pretty darn good right out of the box. It had some issues, of course. It had the low speed, kind of drivability issues. It had the final drive that turned out to be kind of a nightmare. The pair lever, which has its own challenge. There's a lot of different things. 100 horsepower engine. They did change I think either the gear ratio or valving, something. They made the engine, it's basically 105 when you get up into I think I could be wrong on this, guys, quote me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong. I think it might have been like 03 or 04. They upped the horsepower a little bit, and that made a difference. One of the things that they totally changed was the rake angle. So the angle on the LT here, so like the geometry of the bike, they changed that to accommodate a lot of the guys that were having issues out there, that were having issues with the low speed turns, getting into the gas stations. They'd tip their bikes over. Most of these bikes have been down at one time or another, laying on their side. I think that's like the normal state, is to just be laying on its side. This bike actually is pretty clean. This guy has they're super clean on this thing. This thing's got over 200,000 miles on it. So it's really cool to work on something that's got that high miles and is in really good shape. And the owner, his name is Dave. Dave, if you're out there, your bike is it's a great bike, man. It's going to keep going and going. I was really amazed. I did the valves on it. I checked the valves, and after all that time, there was really nothing to adjust. No changes needed. I inspected those glide rails that are in there for the chain after 200,000, and they're in really good shape still. I think you just keep running it. Run it till it don't run it anymore. So it should be a good bike. Good to see it on the road still, and still plugging away. So that was one of the big changes. Of course, the ABS was a really big change. That's another reason I really prefer the 99 to 2000 and up to, I think, 2001, is they had non-integrated brakes. Not that I really hate integrated brakes. What I hate is that servo brake. I am not a fan, personally, of the servo brakes. There was really no reason to put those on there. These bikes have enough brake on them that, like the 2000, the 99s, the ones that have non-integrated brakes, when you grab the front brake, it applies the front tires or the front brakes. If you apply the rear brake, it only applies the rear brakes. It doesn't have any crossover in between, making them an integrated brake. And it definitely doesn't have that servo unit. That servo unit is something that we're really seeing a lot of. If you get on the forums at all, if you're looking around for parts, I'm getting contacted every week by somebody that has a problem with those servo brakes. They're just constantly going out. They're constantly going bad. And I know Module Masters has been, I think they're finally starting to work through their horrendous backlog, but you're looking at, $750 for the rebuild. And then if you have somebody, like myself or maybe a dealer or somebody take the unit out, send it in, put it back in, you're looking at additional labor there. I don't know. I think something's got to be done about those servo brakes, but the answers haven't really come out yet. These have the early model ABS. I think they're the ABS 1 or ABS 2 maybe. Anyway, they do have an ABS unit in them. They don't tend to go out. And even if they did go out, it's only like $350 to repair that unit. So anyway, those are some of the changes. There were some other minor changes, of course, with the dash and the radio, and at least the way it looked. Certainly not the way it operated, because, my God, they're terrible. Anyway, let's go on to another question reel here. Alberto, I wish I see you respect the tips, maybe. I can't read Spanish, if that's what that is. I wish I could. Nope, I can't read that one. So anyway, can I recommend a retrofit to get Bluetooth or satellite capability to the stock radio setup on an O3 LT? Or something to delete the CD player and bring a satellite input? Carl, I really can't. I've made it pretty clear that I really just, I have a burning hatred for the radio that's on the LT because they made it such a piece of garbage. It's not worth it. If you like Bluetooth, seriously consider putting a Bluetooth headset on your helmet and running either earbuds or running it through your speakers. You'll be so much happier than trying to work with the nightmare that is the LT and those crappy speakers that are back there. The problem really lies in the amplifier that's in that radio. The radio is garbage. It will probably always be garbage. I know that there are some guys out there that have been able to repair them. There's a guy in the UK that can do it. I'm sure that there's somebody in the US. I haven't taken the time to try to investigate that because I just encourage people to just throw the radio away and lighten up the bike a little bit more. Believe it or not, you pull that radio out, and I'm telling you, you will feel a difference in the way the bike handles. It's actually lighter, for real. I mean, it's only like, whatever, 5 to 7 pounds, but it's high weight. It's up high. It's like removing that top box that's on there. You pull that 30-pound tumor off of there, believe me, it runs faster, it rides easier, the airflow is a lot better because it just kind of sweeps over you. If you don't need that top box, go pull it off with there once and go tell me I'm wrong, Say, oh no, it rides a lot better with the top box on. You won't. It does ride better when you got, your wife or your girlfriend or your whoever else, your kid or whatever behind you, but it does ride nicer without that. Excuse me just a second. Okay, so the Shark bike sold. Yes, it did. It sold. I just sold it, I think today. A guy contacted me, Rich, and God willing, it is sold. So let me talk just a little bit about my battery. So I don't know if you guys had heard this story or not. I couldn't remember if I told this story or not. But last October, I took my motorcycle up to a friend's house up in the North Woods of Wisconsin. I went to go start the bike that morning, and it was dead. So I put it on my jump starter and, jumped it out, got it running again. It was fine. Rode it up north, shut the bike off a few times, on the way up there. It started just fine. There was no problems at all. It just felt like I had a low battery. I get up to his place, park it for a couple days, go back out to start it. It doesn't start at all. It's just as dead as a stump. I'm like, what the hell? So I put it on. I tried to jump start it again. I did get it started eventually. And then I thought, hey, let's put it on a charger overnight in your garage, so I can leave in the morning. Put it on a charger overnight, and basically it melted the battery. It just. He had a pretty good battery charger, but for whatever reason, there was something in that first Odyssey battery that I put in my bike that caused it to short out and then not shut off the charger. So it was basically pumping like 10 amps into that thing for the whole night, and it boiled out the battery and melted the top. In fact, I have a picture of what that thing looked like on the top, because here's a new Odyssey battery here. This is just a cover that's on here, and you can peel it off, and if you really cared to, you can peel that off there and see what's underneath. It's not that exciting. I could just show you a picture though. You're gonna see some weird video just for a second here while I flip over to this picture. And there we go. So yeah, there's the melted battery. You can see it's all just kind of boiled up. It's bubbled up. you can see these things are kind of out of alignment. The little vent holes, it really cooked it. And you know, as it cooked, it was off gassing and making just a hell of a stink in his garage. So he went out there to go get some water or something, and you know, out to his garage, and he walks out there and the whole place is just fumed out with sulfuric acid fumes, so much so that he could barely breathe. So he opened up the doors real quick, pulled it off the charger, and well, thankfully my bike didn't light up on fire because it would have burned up his garage. And so yeah, that wasn't cool. Anyway, so I've had additional. So he actually had a battery sitting in his shop. He had a brand new, you know, similar battery. This is the one that was in there that he had. A CarQuest battery. It was not filled with acid yet, and you know, he had the kit and everything in his shop. So we filled it up and hooked that one up, and bam, it's been working just great. So recently, I just like last week, I had a customer come over. He wanted to check out my windshield or something on my bike. So he, you know, I let him. He turned the key on, raised the windshield up, looked through it, put the windshield down, and then got off the bike. Well, I had a cover on my bike. I didn't realize that the key was left on. The key was left on for a whole week, and it just smoked that battery. I don't know what happened. I mean, this thing's only October. That thing should have recovered, but something happened in the battery, and yeah, not cool at all. It really just smoked the hell out of it. In fact, I'll show you guys here what I'm dealing with. All right, so this is the CarQuest battery. And this is after leaving this thing on a charger for quite a long time. Let's make sure I get this. Here we go. So, those of you who don't know, these batteries need at least 170 amps. That's what the BMW battery is. That's what most of these batteries are. So that's what I had this set up for. And this is just a regular type. It's not an AGM. So 170 cranking amps. We'll run the test on it, and you can see where it's at. We're at 6% cranking amps. It has 11 cold cranking amps. That's not good. Compared to the new one that I'm going to be putting in later today, the Odyssey, putting a new Odyssey in there. And this one is a glass matte battery, so we'll change that. Still at 170. Run the test on it. And there we go. So this is a 170 cranking amp battery that puts out 320 cranking amps. You could almost spin the car over with that. That's got 180%, 188% of the cranking amps. Yeah, the Odyssey will work just great again. So that's going in there. Okay. Take another question here. Oh, let's see here. Alberto's translation. I'm at this precise moment dismantling the injectors. Some tips about it. So, what do you mean you're dismantling them? You're just taking them out? That's really not hard to do at all. It's just a matter of popping the clips out and pulling them off of the fuel rail. As to completely dismantling them and taking them apart, I have never done that. I wouldn't be able to help you with that. And David, Bought your LT, your 05 LT in a dealer BMW about 3 years ago. For some reason the gas tank, every time I put gas in it, doesn't get full. Never fell down. It's clean with 50,000 miles. What do you mean it doesn't get full, David? You have to clarify that. It's not showing full. Is it showing halfway? Because if it is, then you've got that crushed tube inside there, and you just need to get in there and straighten that out. I did make a video on how to do that. If your gas gauge, you know, it gets caught at either side, so it'll either be coming down to half and never going to empty, or it'll only go up to about half and never get to full. Depends on where that float gets stuck in that tube. Anyway, you have to you got to pull your gas tank. You have to pull that, you know, it's over on this side of the bike. I'm not going to pull the cover out to show you now, but you have to pull the sending unit out and then dismantle the sending unit and then straighten out the tube. There's a dent in the tube, and then you'll be able to get the proper gas reading with it. It definitely does work. It says it doesn't show. Yeah, it sounds like you got a bent fuel sending tube. That's really not that hard to fix. That's a really cheap fix. And yeah, I mean cheap as in like $0 fix. Just have the right tools, have something to send down there. Like I said, I do have a video out on that one, how to fix that gas gauge. And it's usually because that charcoal canister in the back gets clogged up, whether the bike tipped over or if the gas was overfilled too many times. You know, if you filled it all the way to capacity and then gasoline, raw gas, goes through the lines, goes into the charcoal canister and turns that stupid charcoal canister like a big charcoal brick back there. And then when it tries to suck that gasoline back in, now it can't pull any air. That gas pump is way more powerful than the air pressure that's inside the tank, and it starts to collapse the tank in on itself and creates a dent right in the middle of that tube. So that's how you get that thing fixed out. Bogus Smilene, gonna get one of those t-shirts. Hey, I appreciate it. You know, if you do, that'd be great. Send me a picture of it. I don't have any pictures of anybody buying the t-shirts or wearing them. They are really nice. I'm actually starting, I'm going to be, not only do I have the t-shirts on Amazon, but I have them, I'm trying out some t-shirts with Teespring as well, because maybe they got better quality, or I don't know if they'll have better pricing. They kind of don't. They're all the same when it comes to pricing it. And to be honest, I'm not trying to make money off of it. When you guys buy a t-shirt, I make a whole, I think $4, $4, maybe up to $5. I can't remember. Depends on the options that you have. You know, like if it's a colored shirt, the cheapest ones I think were probably the white ones. The ones with just one logo too, like just if it's only on the front and not on the back as well. I don't know. Amazon's kind of a nightmare with that stuff, and they're kind of meh. Don Lightheart, what's your opinion on reusable air filters such as the K&N versus a disposable paper one? Well, that is something I actually really do have an opinion on. I truly do not like the K&N filters. I was a K&N fan. I was a fanboy of K&N until I saw some really good documentation on how well do these filters work on filtering the dirt. Not about increasing the airflow, but filtering the dirt. And what I saw was clearly they do not filter as good as a paper element does. They can just get finer microns. I've got one right here actually. Now this is in a man filter box, but it's actually a K&N filter. Right there, it's brand new, and you can almost see me through it. Extremely clean. I pulled this out of a bike and cleaned it up, and I'll sell it. I'll sell it to you if you want it. I've got it listed on eBay right now. I think it's the last one. I don't care for them. I really like the paper filters. They work really good, and I think it's a good idea to you know, stick with those. But it's up to you. If you're a K&N fanboy like I used to be, well, maybe this is the right filter for you. Thanks for asking, though. Appreciate it. Let's see. Changed over to the Motobat lithium battery for my Serato. Made batteries failed. Yeah, I don't know if they make a battery strong enough for the LT. If that was your question, excuse me. No cough button on this thing. If they had a lithium battery that was strong enough for these, that would be pretty cool. The problem with lithium batteries in the wintertime, though, is just like in your phone. You know, if you leave your phone out in the cold, your battery life is like right down to nothing. It goes to zero really, really quick. So I think that the lithium battery is going to have some challenges when it comes to starting in the cold. Here in Illinois, we definitely feels like we get a lot more cold days than warm days, although it's a beautiful day today. Anyway, I don't think I would want one in the cold weather, because then I'd be right back to putting an Odyssey battery back in it. Yeah. BMW's had trouble with the 650 that you have from 2012. Yeah, I would say I don't know. I don't know what kind of trouble. I don't know what you're referring to. I know they had some kind of stalling issues and hesitation, but I think they had most of that ironed out by 2012. Anyway, so the last thing I wanted to do was, let me flip this camera one more time. Had a bike come in with the center stand that wasn't working, and the center stand had a couple problems. One, it was leaking all over, so that was an issue, and I've already gone over a video on how to rebuild that. But this was the motor out of it, and this motor is really locked up. I'm kind of curious to see what happened to this thing. I'm just going to take it apart. I'm not going to even pretend to fix this, because these motors that are on those units, they're totally not worth fixing. You just throw them in the garbage and put a new one on. I've got a couple different of these electric motors on my Amazon page. If you guys ever need them, they're only like $30 or something. And maybe under. They're maybe like $22. I don't know. They're so cheap, you just don't even bother. But I wanted to just pull this one apart just to see right here live on air what happened to this thing. Pull this baby apart. Alright. Pulling against the magnet. It feels like it just burned up, because it's barely rolling here. It's like really, really sticky. Pull it out past the brushes on there. And the brushes didn't look too bad. I don't know. I think the bearing in it just went out. So yeah, that's it. So the bearing went out. Now it's garbage. Okay, well, I'm going to throw that right where it belongs, in the crapper. Anyhow, so what do I got coming up next? I'm not really sure what's coming up next when it comes to bikes. Been getting, some calls here and there about bikes. Still got to finish doing a lot of editing on my videos, the ones I'm currently working on. That audio issue is not resolved yet with the, what was that, the S1000 XR exhaust. That was kind of a fun project, but I'll get that video out there for you guys pretty soon. I'm going to wrap it up at this, and I think that's going to be it. So thanks so much for watching, and do check out the links below if you want to help out, or if you want to buy one of these t-shirts. Go over to my Amazon page. I don't know, that's about all I got. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And yes, Dave, your bike is famous back there. Okay, I know you're wondering. It's your bike, it's famous because it's on YouTube. So see you guys later.